Access. Oh no, it's wanting me to. Okay, okay. Hello, Bruce?
It's definitely been more than 15.
I don't have to
Can you hear me,
read
Bruce?
the whole list there, that just as presented. Yeah.
Hey, Shelley, how are you?
At the very beginning.
Oh, good. I'm good,
Okay,
Bruce.
sure.
Can
Yeah,
you
I was
hear
going to
me?
wait.
Okay, we're live, so I'll let you go mute right now.
Then it's done. Yeah. Give me the cue there, Bruce, whenever you're ready. No. We're early, John. 4:25. No, I'll talk to him later, but yeah, she phoned me back. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our organizational meeting on October 17th at 4:25. Hard to believe it will be 1 year from tomorrow that we were all elected on council there. So congratulations on your first year of council here. Welcome to the organizational meeting. We'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. Moved by Councillor Woodrup that Joel Goodenough be appointed as Deputy Chief Elected Official for the 2022-2023, and further that the Deputy Chief Elected Official be authorized to use the title as Deputy Mayor. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that Mohammed Idris be appointed as acting mayor for 2022-2023, as may be required from time to time in the event that the mayor and or deputy mayor are unavailable. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the 2022-2023 board, committee, commissions, and subcommittee appointments as outlined in the attached listing and forming part of these minutes be made effective October 17th, 2022 to the date of the 2023 organizational meeting. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica that in the event an appointed member is not able to attend a meeting, the mayor may attend in place of the appointed member, or the mayor may appoint another member of council to attend in place of the appointed member. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Idris that the mayor, deputy mayor, and acting mayor and manager finance, deputy chief administrative officer, or chief administrative officer be authorized to act as signing authority for the city of Brooks. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that the organizational meeting adjourn at 4:29. All those in favor? Carried. Ready for our regular meeting? Or do you want to wait at 30 seconds? Go ahead. Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Prentice that the agenda be adopted. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that the minutes from the regular council meeting held September 19th, 2022 be approved. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that the September 2022 RCMP report be accepted as information. Good afternoon, Staff Sergeant. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Before I proceed with my report, I brought a gentleman along with me today. We're trying to get back into the habit of bringing some of our newer members to council meetings so that they can get an idea of how the meetings flow and an idea of who our elected officials are. So I brought a gentleman with me. You can come up, have a seat. This is Constable Rob McCready, and he's actually coming to us from Pachinak, Saskatchewan, and he's got about 5.5 years of service.
Did he say the name right?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Okay.
I came from Saskatchewan
Oh, okay. Well,
before
okay.
I made
Then
it
you
to
would know.
Alberta. So,
Yeah, you would know those names pretty good.
oh yeah, I tried to avoid those places as much as I could. But, yeah, so he comes to us with about 5.5 years service, and we're really happy to have him. And yeah, I'll just get him to sit in on the meeting if that's okay.
Well, welcome to Brooks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Your
so
floor, yeah.
I'll just start off with my report here. So during the month of September of 2022, Brooks Detachment members responded to 421 municipal calls for service. A total of 33 prisoners were lodged in detachment cells. There were 165 municipal criminal record checks completed, and a total of 68 violation tickets were issued within the city limits. Some significant events on September 1st, 2022. Members were advised of the theft of a truck in the 1000 block of 3rd Avenue East. Vehicle had been located a short time later by the owner, who also advised that her partner had seen a female attempt to unlock the vehicle with the key. The male took the keys from the suspect, who was determined to be a female that was well known to police. Members attended the area, and after a foot pursuit, took the female into custody. The suspect was charged with flight from police, resisting a peace officer, possession of property obtained by crime, and failed to attend court. The female was convicted at her court appearance. On September the 15th, Brooks RCMP members responded to a complaint of an assault with a weapon in a parking lot located in the downtown area of Brooks. The complainant told police that his father had been struck in the head with a baseball bat and that he knew who the suspect was. The suspect was located at his residence and arrested without incident. The suspect was charged with assault with a weapon. Matter is currently before the court. The victim received treatment for his injuries and has since been released from the hospital. Then on September the 18th, Brooks members were advised of 2 individuals that had punched the ignition of a vehicle parked in the parking lot of a local business. The same 2 individuals, a male and a female, were later spotted by the complainant behind another local business. Police located the pair and they were arrested without incident. Investigation revealed the suspects were involved in other incidents around town. Both suspects were charged with several offenses, including possession of property obtained by crime, possession of break-in instruments, and mischief under $5,000. Matter is currently before the courts. I'd just like to highlight for you that the incident on September the 1st, as well as the September the 18th incident, involved what we call prolific property crime offenders. So these are people that, no matter how many times they're dealt with by the law, every time they get out, they go back and they continue to reoffend. So by being able to catch up to them a lot of times, it's a snowball issue. Like with the September the 18th incident, once members caught up to the pair of suspects, things started to snowball and they realized that they'd been involved in other offenses and crimes around the city. So it was definitely a good stop. So, and that's all I have on the significant incidents or the significant events. I'll just kind of go over the crime gauge. So persons crimes, we've seen a 5% increase from January to September as compared to last year. Property crimes, we've seen a 36% increase, and we've seen an 11% decrease in other criminal code offenses. So we're looking at a 16% increase in criminal code offenses. Property crimes, break and enters are down by 7%. Theft of motor vehicles is up, and just general theft is up as well. So are there any questions on the report or those numbers?
Any questions? Are you going over the other stats then too, or?
Did you want me
No,
to?
no. I just have a few questions.
Yeah, for sure.
We're hearing a lot about catalytic converters being stolen, and I don't know if that's a larger center problem. Have you run into any of those problems here?
You know, I think we may have heard of one or possibly two instances since my time here, and that would be a year and a half. But it's certainly not something that's blowing up here in Brooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hopefully, because I have one of the vehicles that's most frequently targeted, so I hope it doesn't.
I think you gave yourself away now.
Yeah, exactly.
The other question I had, it's actually 4 years today since cannabis has been legalized in the country here. Two-part question here. I haven't seen, watching the police stats over the last 4 years, I've never seen any real problem with that. Maybe you can get into that a little bit more if there has been.
Yeah, you know, aside from the odd offense where, you know, we'll pull over a vehicle and maybe somebody has cannabis within reach of the driver or whatever the case may be, we're not seeing a lot. You know, we do get the odd report that somebody might be selling it or maybe growing more plants than they're supposed to be, but we treat those on a case-by-case basis. Certainly we don't, and I think it's because of well, of course it's because of the legalization, but it's not really something we hear a lot about anymore, so.
Yeah, the other part of the, and this might be hard for you to tell too.
Yeah.
I know, according to reports, that there's still a high illegal distribution network out there of cannabis there, but I don't know if you've seen anything around here like that.
Yeah, and I can't really speak to the
Criminal
you know,
element.
severity of it here in our community or how prevalent the illegal trade is. You know, I do know that with the traffic I see going to some of the local dispensaries, that a lot of people appear to be buying legally. So.
Yeah. Okay. Did anybody else have any? Okay, Councillor Idris.
So there was a press release this morning, I believe, regarding Yusuf.
Yes.
So I'm not asking about going forward with the incident for today, but what have you been doing for that arrangements, and how is that get to where we got today?
Yeah, so we are responsible, or we've taken on the responsibility for supervising him when he goes out to do his cleanup. As of today, he is refusing to do his cleanup. So we've decided to tackle that through the courts. And there was a clause in his release where if he's called to come in and do the cleanup, he has to go. So basically, our recourse, if he chooses not to do the cleanup, is we can go and we can arrest him and we can bring him back before the judge. Luckily for us, we have a local Crown prosecutor that's dealing with it, as well as a local judge. And they're both, you know, residents of and very aware of the city of Brooks. And I think that with that local flavor, we could see some sort of a, you know, a result from the court appearances. But right now, I mean, you know, we just address it by an arrest and release, or whatever the JP decides is going to be the best outcome for that. And we're just dealing with it through the courts. At the end of the day, we can't use physical force to make him clean up. If he's refusing, he's refusing. And at the end of the day, I mean, it's, you know, to sit there and watch him clean up is actually not part of our, it's not part of our mandate. That should theoretically be a different agency doing that and not us, so.
And that's actually where my question comes from. Like, is that normal for the RCMP to supervise something like this?
No, but in the absence of anybody else offering to do it, we stepped up and decided to have one of our members do it. And that member hasn't been successful in getting Mr. Youssef to come in, and he's flat outright refused to do it, so. So we deal with it through the courts at this point.
Any other questions? Yeah, Councillor Wardrop?
Thanks, Staff Sergeant.
Hi.
My question is about speeding. It says that we are more than double our highest number of speeding violations in the last 5 years. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what specifically is the issue there, and maybe areas of town, and then and then additionally, what would be the number that we're looking for to be within the norm of how many
Okay.
violations?
Just let me have a look here. What page was that on exactly?
That is on. It's in the January to, or I guess that's not very helpful. Which I don't see the page numbers.
Oh, I got it
It's
right
toward
here.
the end there, yeah, and it's on the bottom.
Okay, so, yeah, so the difference between 2021 and 2022, where we went from 13 up to 68, that would be it, yeah.
It's more
So-
to the trend over the last 5 years too.
Yeah.
So the highest we got up was in 2020, it was at 30. And even now, it's more than double that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what's going on there?
You know, there could be many factors at play. A lot of times, new drivers, so young drivers that are coming onto the driving scene could be responsible for kind of boosting those numbers up a little bit. Also, too, with the nice weather during the summer, we always expect that the driving offenses are going to go up a bit. I look at that number of 68, and you know, while it is very high, I think that it could easily be explained by, you know, the combination of maybe new drivers, maybe nice weather. You know, certainly you see a lot more people driving around with what I like to call some of the nicer cars, and you know, I think that they're, you know, they're trying to test them out and see what they can do and whatnot. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I can't really offer up a concrete explanation as to why that number would have gone up so high. But, yeah, and that's the number, I believe, of the offenses that were reported, if I'm not mistaken. Some of those we possibly didn't get in charge, but that would have been a number of the reports.
A quick follow-up then.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of data that we could have that would indicate where these speeding violations are taking place in the city?
Yeah, and just kind of off the top of my head, I mean, I do believe that it's not limited to only specific areas of the city. I think that, you know, it's kind of far-reaching, and it could be on Second Ave, it could be on Castles, it could be literally anywhere. But I'm pretty sure we could look in and we could see kind of where the areas would be. But I do believe it's kind of all over the town, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Councillor Jessica, did you have a question?
Well, I was just going to say, maybe it's a reflection of some aggressive police work on part of RCMP, which would be great if that's why they're catching them, because,
Well, and we do catch our fair share. You know, that said, I mean, you get the odd one where, you know, they're a target of opportunity, right? And a lot of times you have to be in the right place at the right time to catch them. But certainly our members do a lot of traffic enforcement, so.
and if I just could bring it up one more time, I had asked before about some comparisons of our crime statistics with other communities. So if that-
Unfortunately, I haven't gotten that for you
Yeah.
yet, but I am working on it.
Yeah, if we could have something like that, and I know you're busy and
Yeah.
there's lots of things happening, but, you know, if we had something like that for January, right to the end of this
Absolutely.
year, because then that would skip over the 2 years, which were slightly abnormal.
For sure.
And we'd have maybe a bit better comparison to what's in the past, but yeah.
I will, yeah, I'll definitely get that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Goodenough?
Thank you. Thank you, Staff Sergeant. Just a quick question, or a statement and a question. Recently, I was asked by some of the managers at Walmart, PV Mart, McDonald's, and Tim's. They're concerned about their parking lots being used for stunting and different things. And I'm wondering, and when I haven't had a good response, so I was kind of hoping maybe you could respond to that. Like, how do they limit that? And would that, and if it's limited, or if you can limit it, would that go like to mischief to property? I'm just curious where that would fall
Well,
in categories.
Yeah, it all depends. Like, are you talking about stunt driving in the parking lot?
Yeah, I'd like doing donuts after hours, or, you know,
Yeah, that would be a driving offense.
Yeah.
So it'd be, you know, stunting.
yeah.
But again, for something like that, we would have to know what's happening, like when it happens, for us to be able to kind of intervene and catch the people.
Right. So how does like for our business community, like when it's after hours, their staff are done, or it's just the
Yeah.
janitors that are there, what's the best way that they would,
Well,
how do they do that?
yeah, if they see something happening out in the parking lot, they should call us right away. That increases our chances of getting there faster and maybe catching the suspects while they're in the act of stunting. Other things maybe that could be told to the property owners would be basically installing speed bumps in the parking lots. I know I've driven through a few parking lots of businesses, namely McDonald's in other cities, and they have a series of speed bumps going right around their parking lot. Stuff like that actually, you know, could help kind of curtail those activities. Nobody wants to blow out their suspension system or something going over those things. So I would say there's little, almost like crime prevention through environmental design things that they could do to prevent that. You know, a properly placed post or two. Yeah, anything like that. I know it sounds like it's, you know, a costly thing to do, but I think at the end of the day, it would save a lot of asphalt, so a lot of pavement, so.
I
And
think,
cameras, if they have them.
I think, yeah, and I think part of it too is the managers, and they're more concerned for the safety of individuals too, right? And that's what,
Right.
that's at the end of, that's our goal, is safety to,
Yeah, and,
Parking lots.
you know, I mean, if the individual, I would say, and, you know, if all we're talking about here is stunting, if an individual's inside cleaning up a business, those individuals, in my opinion, aren't necessarily in much danger, unless they happen to be walking through the parking lot when the vehicles are out there. But it's definitely something that we want to curtail as well, so if we can get a timely phone call on that, or even if they're able to catch somebody doing it in the parking lot on video, and they can get like either a really good vehicle description or a license plate, stuff like that's invaluable. We can follow up on that after the fact even, so
perfect, thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Any other questions? Councillor Prentice?
Yes, back to that graffiti. The guy Cole's got a concrete fence, and it's gonna have to be sandblasted, so basically you're saying that if he doesn't wanna clean it up, there's nothing you can make that guy do, eh?
Well, technically, so by virtue of the sentence that he received, he technically has a year to do the work. Because he's on probation for the year, and that is one of the conditions. I mean, if we can get him to do the work going into the spring perhaps, then there would be no issue. We don't have access to a sandblaster. That's the only thing. So we're limited to whatever we were given. I think it's a backpack pump sprayer and some cleaning supplies. So we wouldn't even be able to tackle a sandblasting job.
So basically, they're on their own, the landowner then?
Not I mean, if we
Like,
could,
what
if we
else-
could get the guy out there at least to try and clean something off.
Unless they're sandblasted. I looked at it.
Yeah, but if it's gotta be sandblasted, I mean, realistically, I don't even know what he could do about it. So,
There's
if
quite a-
the
there's a few of them.
property owner though was on the list of, victims or,
He is,
yeah, then if there's restitution, he may very well be in line for that.
yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Councillor Jessica?
Just on the same topic, I know the city did or was ordering some a product that has worked well on that material, on porous materials, like the radio station brick. They used it, it's called elephant snot. So
Yeah.
you might be able to get, depending on the severity of the graffiti, you might be able to talk to Todd at the city and try some of that stuff.
And actually, I do know jurisdictions that have gone through this before, and I can't remember where it was exactly, but we reached out to somebody in Winnipeg. Winnipeg traditionally has had a lot of problems with graffiti, and they've also apparently become very proficient at cleaning it up, and they have apparently some fantastic products that they've been using. I don't know if that's something maybe we could, or the city could reach out to somebody in Winnipeg and see what they use for cleaning up their graffiti, because apparently it's good stuff, so.
Okay, nothing else then? Okay, thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and welcome to Brooks.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Okay,
Thanks.
to the motion here. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Jessica that the following items of correspondence be received as information, updates on council conferences and/or workshops, the accounts payable listing, and notes from Council Committee, September 27th, 2022, and Council Committee, October 11th, 2022. And I'll start to the left this time. Joel? Or Councillor Goodenough, sorry. Yeah.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Councillor Wardrop.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Jessica. Councillor Idris.
I just want to say something about the meeting we had with Mr. Chandru.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
So myself and his worship, Mayor Petrie, met with Mr. Chandru in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about a number of different issues, but the main issue we talked about was the provincial policing study and proposal the government is considering. And a couple things. They are trying to have answers for the questions that we have raised in the past, and I think this idea of meeting with municipal elected officials is their answer to our concerns around engagement and around trying to see why the municipalities haven't been engaged throughout the process from the beginning. So from that perspective, I appreciate the meeting and the opportunity to do that. From our perspective, I think it's time also that we start talking about what if this is happening, what's our position and how are we going to be able to work in this new environment. And I think it could be a good idea to discuss that as council, maybe in one of the council committees, and see exactly what things could look like and what our asks, the way we are going to work with this new environment is going to be. So,
Just to continue on with that, and I think they recognized what they did wrong was they came up with this plan and then consulted municipalities, and actually what they should have done was consult the municipalities first and then maybe come up with a plan afterwards. It almost seems like the idea is entrenched in the government though, and we do have an election coming up there, but it almost sounded, and correct me if I'm wrong, it almost sounded like they're talking about almost a modified, where you do have the Alberta Police Force, but you still have a certain segment of the RCMP around there too. And then the common question, what about, the cost? Is it going to cost us any money? And again, they reassure us it's not going to cost us any money, but we don't know for that for sure.
yeah, and yes, so they talked about national policing functions that's going to continue being an RCMP place. But from that discussion, from the leadership process that we went through and who became the leader and the current premier, it looks like this is going to happen somehow. So how can we really be in a better place? And also you mentioned that idea of cost. In our question to them was that, you know what, yes, you are saying that, but is there going to be some sort of a guarantee that the next government is not going to change that? And are you going to sign with us saying that for the next 30 years there is no increase? Or what does that look like? Because we have a government change every 4 years, and any government could change that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and like I say, I think we're going to have to kind of wait and see what happens, but you're right, we have to be prepared one way or another here too, yeah. And I think the timeline, because we did ask them about that, and they talked about, was it 3 to 5 years, if I'm right, if that's what, yeah, so. Okay, okay, Councillor Nesbitt.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I agree with you totally, but I have nothing else to report. Thank you.
Nothing to report.
Okay. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Prentice that October 16th, 2022, October 16th to the 22nd, 2022, be hereby proclaimed as National Teen Driver Safety Week in the City of Brooks. Amanda.
Through the chair to Mayor Petrie and Council, National Teen Driver Safety Week is taking place on October 16th through the 22nd of 2022. This year, the theme is Driving Takes 100, with a focus on the critical issue of distracted driving. Additional messaging is around speeding, drug impaired, alcohol impaired, aggressive driving, and rail safety. Teen driver safety is important. Road crashes are the third leading cause of death for people ages 15 to 24 in Canada. Young people are killed in crashes at a higher rate than any other age group under 75 years of age. This year, we are planning on an awareness campaign, including positive messaging around the community, radio ads, and a large community sign. Therefore, the recommendation is that Council proclaim October 16th through the 22nd as National Teen Driver Safety Week in the City of Brooks. Pending Council's approval of the proclamation, we would like to hang a National Teen Driver Safety Week banner in front of City Hall for that week.
Okay, any questions? And no problem putting the banner up there, so. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Idris that Dave Sikowski be reappointed to the Municipal Planning Commission for a second 2-year term commencing October 20th, 2022 and ending October 19th, 2024. Natasha?
Thank you. Through the chair to Mayor and Council. The Municipal Planning Commission are requesting that Dave Sikowski, a current member of the Municipal Planning Commission, be reappointed for a second 2-year term commencing October 20th of 2022 and ending October 19th of 2024. Therefore, staff is recommending that Dave Sikowski be reappointed to the MPC for a second 2-year term, again commencing October 20th of 2022 and ending October 19th of 2024.
Okay, any questions? We're always thankful for all the people that do volunteer for our boards, and we're thankful when they want to come back for a second term. So it's nice to have Mr. Sikowski back on that one there. Did I do the motion then? Okay, all in favor, okay? Yeah, okay. I don't know if I did the motion, okay? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, moved by Councillor Nesbitt that Council appoint Patty Jones to the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board for a first 2-year term commencing October 18th, 2022 and ending October 17th, 2024. Randy.
Yeah, through the chair to Mayor and Council, the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board is made up of members of City Council, County Council, school board representatives, and community citizens at large. The mandate is to determine future direction and development of recreation and park facilities, events, and programs, and there's currently 1 vacant citizen at large position on that board. The vacant position was advertised, and 2 applications were received and reviewed by the board on September 28th. Therefore, the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board would like to forward to City Council the following motion for citizen at large. Keith Lubbers made a motion to recommend Patrice Patty Jones for a first 2-year term on the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board. Laura Lukey seconded the motion, and that motion was carried. Therefore, staff recommends council appoint Patty Jones to the Brooks and District Recreation and Parks Board for a first 2-year term commencing October 18th, 2022 and ending October 17th, 2024.
Okay, any questions? And again, we welcome Patty aboard there. To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that Joel Sear be reappointed to the Brooks Public Library Board for a second 3-year term commencing October 8th, 2022 and ending October 7th, 2025, and that Shelley Barkley be reappointed to the Brooks Public Library Board for a second 3-year term commencing November 19th, 2022 and ending November 18th, 2025. Amanda.
Through the chair to Mayor Petrie and council. Terms for 2 members of the Brooks Public Library Board have expired or will be expiring in the near future, and the Library Board is recommending that they be reappointed as members at large. Joel Sear was first appointed to the Library Board in 2019. He has a passion for reading and education and volunteers in the community. Shelley Barkley was also first appointed to the Brooks Library Board in 2019 and has lived in Brooks for many years and has a passion for libraries. Therefore, administration is recommending that Joel Sear be reappointed to the Brooks Public Library Board for a second 3-year term commencing October 8th, 2022 and ending October 7th, 2025, and also recommending that Shelley Barkley be reappointed to the Brooks Public Library Board for a second 3-year term commencing November 19th, 2022 and ending November 18th of 2025.
Okay, any questions? To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that council approved the attached SLS municipal requisition of $4.97 per capita in 2023 and $5.13 per capita in 2024, and that those amounts be reflected in the upcoming base budgets. And I think Shelley speaking to this? Yep. Shelley?
I am. Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect. So through the chair to mayor and council. So Shortgrass Library System, or SLS, provides library support systems to member municipalities, of course, which Brooks Public Library has been a member since 1988. The SLS has recently sent a letter to Brooks City Council regarding their 2023 and 2024 operating budgets, which were passed by the SLS Board of Trustees on September 14th, 2022. Within this budget, the 2023 municipal requisitions have increased by 1.16% over the 2022 levy, and an additional 3.22% increase has been budgeted for 2024. Our current municipal contribution is $4, just over $4.91 per capita. And with that, we're paying $70,998 based on our current population. Therefore, the increase in 2023 will bring that amount to $4.97 per capita and $5.13 per capita for 2024. So the amounts corresponding to that for 2023 would be $71,821 and $74,134. Now, those amounts are based on current population figures posted on Alberta Municipal Affairs of 14,451. But we do know a more recent federal census has taken place, and we'll likely see those Alberta Municipal Affairs official populations go up shortly to what are the results of our 2021 federal census of 14,924. With that, hopefully I didn't confuse you too much, but administration recommends that council approve the attached SLS municipal requisition of $4.97 per capita in 2023 and $5.13 per capita in 2024, and that those amounts be reflected in the upcoming base budgets.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Idris?
So Shelley, I'm going to try this I hope I will be able to articulate it. If they have already built the budget for 2023 and 2024 and requested this amount of money based on the per capita in the population we have now, once that is set, if the population changes tomorrow, why would they need to increase it? Like, I think we should pay it both years, agree now, it is on this population and done. Because otherwise the budget will increase. That means the revenue will increase, which they don't need.
So are you saying to pay it on the 14,924?
No, the 14.
Oh, the original one,
Yeah.
14,451.
And we pass it now and done. So because their budget, I look down, few pages down, the budget is there. And the budget is based on that number.
Mm-hmm.
So if we approve it, and we are good. Does that make sense? Am I okay?
Believe it or not, I believe that makes perfect sense, and I'm wondering if Councillor Goodenough would entertain a friendly amendment that says the requisition, instead of $497 per capita and $513 in capita, put the dollar amounts in, if that would solve
like
that situation.
Okay, so we'll do the amendment on that one then.
And that'll be just a friendly amendment.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So in summary, they're paying on the 14,451 population, the old census, and yeah, for the 2 years, 2023, 2024. Okay. I'll just read the motion again here. Moved by Councillor Goodenough that Council approve the attached SLS municipal requisition of $71,821 for 2023 and $74,134 in 2024, and those amounts be reflected in the upcoming base budgets. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, moved by Councillor Idris that the 2023 electrical franchise fee percentage remain at 14% based on the forecasted distribution revenues provided by Fortis Alberta. Who's got this one here? Oh, Shelley, okay, this is you again,
You
Shelley.
again. Thank you. Through the chair to mayor and council. City of Brooks receives electrical franchise fee revenue each month based on a percentage of Fortis Alberta's distribution revenue. The city has the opportunity each year to review its electrical distribution franchise fee percentage. The percentage applicable to the city of Brooks is currently 14%. And if you wanted to compare it with other municipalities, I have attached to this report the listing of all the municipalities in which Fortis Alberta collects this surcharge from. The maximum percentage that the city could increase this rate to would be 20%. That cap is established by Fortis Alberta. And any desired distribution rate changes would be effective January 1st, 2023. Based on Fortis Alberta's forecasted 2023 distribution and transmission tariffs, each 1% increase would result in approximately $86,698 of franchise fee revenue and would increase the average residential electricity bill by approximately 75 cents per month. Administration recommends that the 2023 electrical franchise fee percentage remain at 14% based on the distribution revenues that have been provided by Fortis Alberta.
Okay, any questions? Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Jessica that the speed limit on Lake Stafford Drive East from the three-way stop located at Lakewood Road, Lake Stafford Drive East to the three-way stop at 2nd Street East Fairview Road be lowered to 40 kilometers an hour, and further that the speed limit change come into effect once the appropriate signs are installed. Amend?
Through the chair to Mayor Petrie and council, administration received multiple complaints from residents that live on the Lake Stafford Drive, stating that the area is used as a shortcut and vehicles are speeding excessively. Residents in the area requested that the speed limit be changed to detour the use of the road as a shortcut and make this area safer for families that live in the area and visit the park. This item was discussed at the Council Committee meeting held on October the 11th, and Council Committee recommended that the speed limit be lowered to 40 kilometers per hour. Therefore, the recommendation is that the speed limit on Lake Stafford Drive East from the three-way stop located at Lakewood Road / Lake Stafford Drive East to the three-way stop at 2nd Street East / Fairview Road be lowered to 40 kilometers per hour, and furthermore, that the speed limit change come into effect once the appropriate signs are installed.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Goodenough.
I just want to say that, you know, obviously these changes, we've talked about it as a council, and we've met as a committee, even with the signed committee. We think these are good changes to make. I'm just curious, so on a timeline, do you think for those to be installed? I guess that would be, I don't know if Dawn, 3 months? 3 weeks? Okay. All right. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? We had a lengthy debate on this one here at our council committee there, so, okay. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Nesbitt that the financial report 2022 year-end forecast be accepted as information. Shelley.
Thank you, through the chair to mayor and council. So throughout this last month, management team has reviewed all of our operational and our capital accounts and produced a forecast of what our variances, what we suspect that they might look like at the end of 2022. And that's based on current assumptions and the information that we have now, of course. So the report is attached, and the forecasted amounts have been compared to budget. And we've tried to explain any reasoning why we anticipate these forecasted variances. It is important to remember that they're prepared with the information that we have now, and that circumstances may change, or some of our assumptions could be, different when reality comes through, and that could have an effect on the projected outcome. But just to summarize the forecasted results, or the year-end results, just in regards to departments in the city that are funded from property taxes, we are forecasting a deficit of $100,568. So many of these variances that have been forecast, I've identified them throughout the year within my monthly financial reports. And through the forecasting process, we've identified a few other negative or positive variances which could be consistent with current trends. And I've just highlighted some of the few ones, and some of them are kind of repeats of what I've said throughout my variance reports, but are kind of the prominent things. So first of all, it's forecasted that approximately $100,000 worth of legal fees regarding the BRICSnet broadband project will be incurred in this current year. These costs are just not covered as an eligible expenditure under the CCBF grant, which the project is currently funded through. So that will be funded through operations, and that wasn't anticipated when we originally set up the budget. Next, due to increased usage of natural gas and electricity and the rising costs of transmission and distribution of these utilities, both FortisAlberta and ATCO Gas franchise fees are forecasted to be higher than budget. Together, the fees we anticipate will create a variance approximately of about $263,000. So that would be a positive variance. And that's based on partially on the information that FortisAlberta just recently sent us. In 2022, we have interest rates recovered through, although the interest rates have recovered throughout the year, from their drastic drop in 2021, we still anticipate our interest income will be about $13,000 lower than budget. But those interest rates have been recovering, like I said. So hopefully that we won't see that variance next year. As well, through the year, we have reported on the RCMP variances. as we know that there will be a significant variance at the end of the year within our Rcmp contracted costs, and as well a decrease in fine revenue. So just to summarize that, it's anticipated that we will see about a $90,000 decrease in Rcmp fine revenue, and a further negative variance of about $445,000 due to 2021 vacancy rates, and a higher salary and benefit settlement than was anticipated in the budget. And I think I've kind of explained how that affects us, where we see the final amount for 2021 come through in 2022, because we have different years. So that's the reason we're seeing that in 2022. Revenues from the fire department are forecasted to be higher than budget by approximately $56,700, and that's mostly due to higher standby and call-out fees for services rendered on motor vehicle accidents. Building permits are anticipated to be $22,700 lower than budget. However, the offsetting savings in regards to the contracted costs for building inspections are also approximately $10,000. So that offsets the lower revenue. And in 2022, we anticipate a favorable variance of about $413,000 in recreation revenues. And that's mostly due to the fact that we lowered our budget, our recreation revenue budget by 50%. For this 2022 budget, due to expected COVID closures. We also anticipate a favorable variance of recreation expenses of about $225,500, and that's mainly due to staff vacancies. And of course, those vacancies are offset through several unbudgeted repairs throughout the recreation facilities that we've brought forward in different variance reports already. But as a result of this, the final result of this is that the city we're expecting to have to bring in about just under $67,000 from our reserves to cover our lost revenues and create a zero budget variance. So in our original budget, we anticipated having to bring in about $704,950 from reserves to cover this expected shortfall. So this is a good variance story. So if I can, I'll move on to the other departments. So water, I'll just quickly go through the other departments. Water, it's budgeted, the budgeted transfer to reserves is forecasted to be about $37,800 lower than anticipated. So our reserve transfer was budgeted at $556,900, and it's now forecasted to be $519,100. And that's mostly due to higher water breaks and service line repairs that were required and higher salaries and benefits that was allocated in this budget. In surface irrigation, our budgeted transfer to reserves is forecasted to be about $35,000 lower than anticipated. And our reserve transfer that was originally budgeted was $35,900, meaning that now we're only forecasting to transfer about $900. And that's due to lower service charges collected and unbudgeted pump replacement for the lighthouse. For sewer, our budgeted transfer to reserves is forecasted to be approximately $217,000 higher than anticipated. So the reserve transfer that was budgeted was $304,500, and now we're forecasting to transfer approximately $521,500. And this is mostly due to an over allocation of salaries and wages in the budget and lower costs forecasted in relation to required lagoon berm repairs. For garbage and recycling, our budgeted transfer to reserve is forecasted to be $75,800 lower than anticipated. where the reserve transfer, and this includes both garbage and recycling, was budgeted at $143,000, and now it's forecasted to be about $67,200. This is due to salaries and wages. We anticipate being higher than the amount allocated in the budget, as well as higher fuel and oil costs. So I just will make a note that for purposes of forecasting, we've estimated the contracted cardboard and commercial garbage collection to come out as we originally budgeted. So we'll definitely see the results of those programs that have just been rolled out recently. In regards to our capital budget, most of the major projects budgeted for 2022 are forecasted to be within budget for the year. And if they aren't finished in the year, most of those projects, we will carry forward the amounts over to 2023 and complete them there within budget. But a few exceptions that I've noted are the Hort Lift Station connection sewer main. So that's been completed in 2022. And it did come in about $232,000 less than budget. So this project mostly took place in previous years. I think the majority of it was last year. And we just carried forward the remaining budget, but didn't need to use the complete budget. So that's positive. The cemetery ribbon replacement has been completed for the year for $14,500 less than the budget. And the garbage truck replacements for 2022 have both come in under budget as noted on the report. And with that, administration recommends that the report be accepted as information.
Okay, any questions? Okay, good job there, Shelley. To the motion, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, I don't know if is Sandra on? Jenny? No, she was going to call me tomorrow. Okay, yeah. Okay, moved by Councillor Prentice that Council close the meeting to the public for agenda item 9.A, personal as per section 16, FOIP at 5:20 p.m. All those in favor? Carried.